Lee is still alive tonight. 90 years old, Stan Lee is still here with us. You know, I've known Stan for over 40 years, and Stan Lee to me is about power. This man has entertained us for over 70 years, writing, creating different comic characters. You know, he first came out with the whole comic book in 1962. I was 11 years old. And at that time, I was like a real life Walter Mitty. I used to fantasize, read the whole comic book. I was fascinated with power. So this was the beginning of my life because I had nothing, and this got me involved with bodybuilding and fitness to survive. And it gave me the path to be very successful because my whole life I was the Hulk. And it's funny, it's taken me to many different levels because all of us, each one of us has a little Hulk inside of us. I was fortunate to do all the destruction, the destroying everything on this set, and I got paid for that. So I just want to say I'm really excited to be here tonight. You know, recently, about a week ago, I did the voice and the growl for the new Hulk, Incredible Hulk, coming out as a new adventure. And I think this movie could be a huge hit. And as a matter of fact, I used some of my Hulk power. I just finished taping the Celebrity Apprentice, and you're going to see the real life Incredible Hulk, myself on the Celebrity Apprentice. It all pays off. And now I want to get back to say I'm going to introduce, you're going to see a tribute clip of my great friend Stan Lee, because I'll tell you, we're lucky to have Stan with us because I see Stan all the time. I work with him. We just finished doing a convention in New Orleans. This man has more energy than all of us put together. This man is non-stop. I hope someday to live as long as he is and have the same energy, the same passion, and the same wonderful marriage. Please welcome Stan Lee, the tribute.
My mother and father slept in a couch in the living room that opened up into a double bed, and I slept in a little bedroom in a bed. I got into comics by accident when I heard there was a job open at Magazine Management. They wanted me to work in the comic department, some department. It was two people, Joe and Jack.
After about 10 issues of Captain America, less than a year, Joe Simon and Jack Kirby suddenly left the entire company, and all of a sudden we didn't have an editor.
I looked around to see who'd replace them, and I realized there was nobody. I was the only guy there. So the publisher, Martin Goodman, he said, do you think you can hold down the job of editor and art director and head writer until I get, you know, a real person? I was about, 18. I said, sure, I can do it. After years of writing comics the way my publisher wanted me to, I told my wife, Joni, I wanted to quit. And then she gave me one of history's greatest pieces of advice. She said, why not write a book the way you want to do it? The worst that can happen, you'll be fired, but you want to quit anyway. So I wrote the Fantastic Four, my first plunge into uncharted waters, and I followed up with the next one. Then, feeling I was on a roll, I did Spider-Man and Iron Man. In all of them, emphasizing the things I cared about most, their personal problems and their private lives. Luckily, the book sold. Joni's suggestion had saved the day. Of course, one other thing also saved the day, and that thing was technology. You know, without the ability to create the fantastic special effects that bring our heroes and their powers so realistically to life, superhero movies would be far less exciting and colorful. So Marvel's success is obviously due to two amazing elements: today's plethora of special effects, and of course, my wonderful wife.
Even at age 84, he's still coming up with ideas for superheroes for his new company,
How Entertainment, purveyors of wonder.
In the same way Stan's creations revitalize comics and revolutionize movies, he is reinventing himself with an expanded presence on all new digital platforms. The power of the internet and other new means of distribution will allow us instant, worldwide exposure of our digital comics and movies and give Stan greater interaction with his fans. People use a lot of superlatives describing Stan's characters. But as for Stan himself, he is truly one of the most imaginative, humble, and loving people I've ever met. And I'm grateful to be able to call such a wonderful human being my friend.
Please welcome the director of the upcoming film, The Amazing Spider-Man, Mark Webb.
Hey guys. Stan the man. Where would we be if it weren't for Stan Lee? For starters, I imagine not a few of us, and myself in particular, would be out of a job. It's a particular honor here to be with the Visual Effects Society, an organization that, like Peter Parker, knows a thing or two about the intersection of creativity and technology, in celebrating the amazing Stan Lee and his lifetime of achievements. There are very few things that can pull me away from working on The Amazing Spider-Man right now, but tonight is a rare moment to recognize someone who has given so many of us so much. I am sure that I speak for every single person in this room and fans around the world when I say thank you, Stan, for daring to imagine such extraordinary things. When he was growing up, Stan had a teacher, Mr. Leonard Ginsberg, who used humor and exciting stories to make learning fun. It must have sparked something, because it turns out that Stan was a little bit like Peter Parker, an outsider in school. Peter's power starts with a spider bite. Stan's began with a sharp pencil and the stick-figure comic strips he invented as a boy. While all of us can appreciate Stan's comic book heroes in 4-color pulp and on the screen, the power of his imagination really becomes clear when you understand the structure of his storylines and the complexity of his characters.